Here's my 2004 Ford Expedition. Today I'm going to be changing the headliner. Currently, the old one has had some water damage, and I just want to do a temporary replacement. I said temporary fix because the sunroof is actually broken. I got it to permanently shut down, or to permanently close, and so it is sealed from water, but I cannot open it, and I do want to get that fixed eventually, but that's a later problem. Now you can also see that there's a bunch of junk in this car. This car has not moved in a while. The transmission is currently bad, so it's just been sitting for a while, but I've decided that I want to clean it up, make it look all pretty, and then I'm going to take it into a transmission shop. But I've just been using it for pure storage for quite some time. Now first things first, I have to clear everything out of the car. That way I have enough room to work and remove the headliner. Alright, and now that everything's cleared up, I have to start removing all the pillars where the door handles are here in the front and where all the seat belts are. I need to remove all of those, that way I can get the sunroof out. Alright, to take this off, I need to take off the door handle, and I do that by just popping off both the covers and using the ratchet to get out the bolts. Then the rest is being held in by a retainer clip, so I just have to pull and it'll come right off. So here is all the pieces that I've gathered so far and taken off. Now the next step is to remove some of the infotainment systems. So I have to take the DVD player off and then the center console thing, this thing. Also forgot about this part, but you see the coat hanger hooks, those are also hanging into the headliner, so I have to remove those, all of them, as well as the all the lights that are on top of it. And now that nothing is holding it in besides this little tower thing on the right hand side, I am ready to take it out, but it is raining, so I do kind of just set it down and leave it in the car for day 2. Alright, it is day 2 now, and I'm officially ready to remove the old headliner off, or the old fabric off, should I say. And I just have to take off the fans, and I didn't realize that there's these little tiny brackets that held the lights in, so I also have to remove those as well. And now time for the fun part where I get to rip off the old fabric. I thought it was going to be really easy, and it did start off really easy, but part 2 of this was a lot harder. Alright, now that I got the fabric off, the foam is still stuck on, so you have to use a brush to get it off, so that way you can get a good stick with the new glue and the new foam that you use, or new fabric, whatever you choose. I started off with this like softer bristled brush. It took forever. Some people use a wire brush. I just didn't have one at the time, and that's all I had when I started, and it took forever. Then I switched to here, where I started vacuuming it up because I got not even halfway through and it started raining. I checked my weather app, it was not supposed to rain, but it did, so I had to vacuum everything quickly and put everything away for the day. And so it's later in the afternoon now. It did stop raining. While it was raining, I decided to go to the store and get the wire brush with the drill attachment one, and it made my life so much easier. It took off things without any issues at all, and that sped up the process a lot. And here I just finished scrubbing everything off. I'm just using the shop vac to get all the debris off of it. Now, I know when you want it to look as professional as possible, you're supposed to get a pretty good foam-backed headliner that's meant for cars. This is just some cheap fabric I got at Joann's. I wanted something a little bit more like colorful, fun. I knew it wasn't going to be permanent, and I just wanted something nice looking for now. And I'm just laying it over here. I'm just trying to make sure it's fitting in all edges and that I have enough room to mess with what I need to when I'm ready to glue down. And now that I'm ready to start gluing, I take half of the headliner, I fold it back. That way I can spray half of the fabric side and the actual roof side to get a good stick to it. I just use regular like 3M headliner adhesive. I know it would have been better if I bought my own like glue gun and specific glue, but this was just a cheap quick fix. So I was happy either way as long as it looked alright. I wasn't looking for perfection. And here was what the part I was most nervous for, was actually putting it on. Luckily I did have a few attempts. You're able to take it off, or I took it off at least, a few times in some certain places. That way I can try to get a smoother edge, so that way I didn't pull it too taut. Now in doing this first half, I did use all the glue that I had. I only bought 1 can. I should have brought more, but I just wasn't thinking. So in the next clip that I'm about to show, it is actually in the night, because I wanted to finish gluing all in one night and within a similar time. So I just ran to O'Reilly's real quick to get some glue. And now in terrible lighting, I tried to finish the rest of the gluing process. I bought 2 more cans. I did end up using both cans to finish this. And here it is finished. Everything is glued on. I just need to cut holes wherever there's empty space on the other side. So I just flip it over and start cutting. So here's just how I cut it. I literally just flipped it over, and then once I cut a big enough like little circle, I would just cut little strips and bend them back over itself. That way it can give a nice little clean finish. I wasn't worried about overlap because stuff was going to go over it. So then after I cut everything, I did end up putting up all the accessories back on, like the light brackets and the fans. And cut to morning, and this is the final product. I think it looks pretty nice. Now I just gotta install it back in the car. For the install, I just start putting the pillars back in, or at least the front two. That way I can give it something to hold on to while I'm trying to push it in, because it is pretty hard as a one-person job. I think it'd be a lot easier if you did have some help. And here I'm putting on one of the door handles, and I messed up. I don't know if I was misthreaded it or if I was just cranking too hard, but the bolt snapped, so my passenger no longer has a working handlebar to use. And here I finally start to getting to putting the headliner back in. And here you'll see me moving these chairs up. I'm trying to give something to brace the headliner so that way I can keep moving it in forward without it bending too much. And here I decide to climb into the car because I'm having trouble getting this in. So what I ended up doing was crawling in and using both my arms and my legs to push up and back, or at front, towards the hood of the car. That way I can get more leverage, because I wasn't able to do it before just with my arms, just because half would be sagging too much to stay in. And with the front two pieces jammed in, I now move to the back, and I just used the back pillars to hold that up. And I went around and did that for everything else. Here's the final piece that I need to put on to fully hold it in place. Then I just have to plug everything back in. And here is the final product. I'm super happy with how it came out. I love the color that I chose, or the print that I chose. I feel like it gives it a lot more personality than it had before. Now, while I am loving it, I am thinking that the headliner is a little bit brighter than the rest of the car. I do think now that I do want to paint the rest of the interior, if I can figure out how to do that. Maybe like a darker brown, because this is more of like a light tannish color. I do like the darker browns, and that is what I do want to paint the interior of the car eventually, if I can. And yes, there is some imperfections, but I mean, I really have to stare at them to notice them. But I really don't care. I think it turned out fantastic. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the sunroof. You can see that's normal. I wasn't able to change that part of the cover that goes back. I'm not exactly sure how to get that out of the sunroof itself, but I'm still happy with it. Proud of what I did. It took 3 days, and yeah,